It's another break day from the talking head. So I'm giving y'all the comfy couch to look at and a little bit of a picture, but nonetheless, we are going to talk about this because as I was driving down the highway today, and I've been noticing it a bit more with billboards, and it just reminds me of all of those messages that we get. Um, Number one recommended this, number one suggested this, all these things that are supposedly the number one or something or other inside the matrix. And it's all part of the game of narcissism. Like, oh, that's supposed to attract people to that particular, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so number one in this industry or that industry. And I mean, it's all lies. It's all lies. Because we realize that in the game of narcissism, they all make up stuff. They make up numbers. They make everything up. It's a make believe world out there. And so God's been revealing that to me, and I'm like, how is it that all of these different, well, let's just say, different individuals can be the number one, let's just say, doctor recommended this or that or the other? How is that possible? You have a toothpaste, right? You have a toothpaste, and the brand will claim that it is the number one dentist recommended. And then you have another brand of toothpaste that says it is the number one recommended toothpaste. And I'm like, okay, so which one is it? Because there's only one number one, right? Or supposed to be like God. There's only one God, right? Yeah. There's only one number one, the Almighty God. But I wonder about that kind of stuff. Hello, everybody. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Let's Just Chat show, streaming on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequencies for healthier living. And so I'm going to let those notifications go out. And as we do that, let me do my usual check here to make sure everything is on the up and up for y'all while combating radio frequencies. There you go. Because I have an announcement for everybody. So I'm going to give it a few minutes before we make that announcement, because it is in the description below for quicker access. And I know that Wi-Fi can be a little funky for some people, so yeah. And I also know that those some who pop in and then pop back out within the first couple minutes, when they realize it's not right that we've gone faceless, they don't stick around. Those are the Jezebel case study. Well, the Jezebel case study and her flying monkey. They'll pop in, and when they see that it's not a talking head video, when they realize they can't see me, then they duck back out. So I gotta give it a few minutes for them to figure out whether they're gonna stick around or not. And because we know what they're looking for, and we're not gonna give it to them. Ding, 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 ding. So we're doing a true blue podcast style, if you will, today, as we talk about how is it that so many different brands out here can all be the number one recommended something or other by a particular doctor. I'm like, talking about cognitive dissonance in action. Like, seriously, I mean, that's like, how confusing is that? So which one is it? Is it this brand or that brand? Okay, toothpaste, like I was talking about earlier. I remember the commercial when I used to watch the television. I also call it the tell-lie-vision. So I remember the commercials. The number one recommended toothpaste by this, by I guess many dentists, right? So it's the number one dentist recommended toothpaste. Okay, and then another brand of toothpaste, that commercial comes on, and it claimed that it is the number one dentist recommended toothpaste. Okay, again, I asked, which one is it? And so I said, we got all these brands out here claiming to be the number one recommended. Well, you know how hard it is to get Google reviews. Yeah, it actually is quite challenging. I want to thank all y'all who have given Consulting for Heightened Awareness a Google review. If you have not done so, I highly encourage y'all to please do so, because I know this ministry is helping a lot of y'all, because you tell me. So let's let the world know, if you don't mind. I don't depend on those, but y'all know that helps to build a rapport. Okay, and there are people who do look at that, and so the Google review business page link is in the description below. It's in our video description on this YouTube channel as well. You'll see where you can leave a Google review. You click on that link, it'll take you there. And you may have to, you're probably going to have to log in with your Google credential, because I know I do. Whenever I leave a Google review, they want me to log in with my credentials, and that's fine. You know, I don't mind. And, you know, to leave a review. And yes, yours truly does that from time to time. Depends on who it is and whether I am truly satisfied, you know, with the product, service, what have you. Now, you know, those of you who are truly satisfied and happy with this ministry, I thank y'all for leaving a Google review. And I will tell you that a lot regarding healthcare. All can actually be the number one. I'm like, but they're all claiming that they are the number one. So I'm like, so it's all part of the game of narcissism. It's all part of how it really is the narcissism side of marketing, where they're all claiming to be whatever for this. And I'm like, if that amulet comes, I've seen them out. Really? The number one ER. They are the number one ER in this county. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, yeah, again, that jurisdiction of that number one, it's going to take you to the nearest one. So what did that? But think about things like that now, and I'm like, wow, you know. But see, as we're combating radio frequencies for healthier living, and I said, well, okay, you know, we have the number one everything out here, it seems. So on the billboard and the commercials and advertisements and that narcissism side of marketing. So anytime I hear or read somebody claiming that this is the number one strategy, or this is that's not the number one strategy to accomplish that task. Chosen ones, we're learning there are multiple ways to accomplish a task, and that some particular strategy or procedure is number one. And that's also idolatry. That's like them putting them, and I'm like, okay, so you consider yourself to be number one because that's attractive to narcissists. You see, a narcissist is always going to want to go for the biggest and the best. A narcissist is looking for the number one because the narcissist thinks that they are number one, right? So only a narcissist is going to be attracted to that. Chosen one, we start to observe and analyze that and go, okay, so how many billboards do I see now where, oh, we have these 5 different pizza joints and all of them are claiming to be the number one pizza joint. So eeny, meeny, miny, mo, or is it just, oh, I don't know, let's pull, let's write all the pizza places down on a little piece of paper, put them in a hat and draw, because all of them are claiming to be a number one pizza joint. And so I'm like, idolatry. Yeah, okay, I see that. Okay, so they're putting themselves up on a pedestal. But again, it's very attractive to narcissists. Narcissists want the number one this, the number one that. Narcissists are the ones that want to go for all of that. Whereas all I want is, hey, is the food, is it edible? Is the service good enough to leave a tip? I mean, I'm just saying, you know, I'm not, you know, chosen ones, we're not picky. Think about that. That promotion of number one anything, okay, in the game of narcissism, that promotes being picky. That's like And I know, listen, okay, chosen one, okay, all right, I'm going to admit, yours truly, okay, yours truly, hey there, hey there, hey there, yours truly does have some things I'm a little picky about, okay, we all do, okay, I'm very particular about a way that I do stuff, like I have for example, I have a tumbler that is dedicated for my fruit juices or veggie juices on ice. Okay, I have a tumbler dedicated for that. I have another tumbler that is strictly for ice water, and that's it. And I have another tumbler that is strictly for ice. Okay, so I'm very particular about that. Okay, I'm very picky about that. I was using the one tumbler that I use for water for my juices there for a while, but I said no, 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 no. I want my ice water in that tumbler. I said I got to get another. So I got another tumbler for the juices to put on ice. I said that one, okay, because I said that just works out better. 3 and it's complete, because the largest tumbler is like an ice cooler. So that way when I'm out and about, I have that with me in the car if I need to refill either of the other tumblers with ice and water or ice and juice, because the juice has water in it. So, that's how that works. But anyhow, as far as that's the kind of picky we are. When it comes to number one of something, I can care less. I can care less, because in my eyes, there is only one number one, and that's the Almighty God. There is only one number one, and that is the Almighty God. Okay, there is only one number one. And that's it. God. Glory be to God. And because of that, I don't pay attention to any of these number one entities or anybody out here claiming to be number one in this or number one in this industry or number one in that or number one. I mean, it's just that promotes perfectionism. Another word, and an ism. It's just it's that seeking perfection that is a sign of narcissism, and only narcissists will pay attention to that. And so Chris is telling us, he said that you're racking your brain for an alternative to the word game or term rather for the game of narcissism. It feels more like sinister. Well, I get you. It feels more sinister than a game. I got you on that one. Listen, I'm totally with you on that. Totally with you on that. And, and you know what? If you can think of one, let me know. But for now, because narcissists think that everything is a game. Narcissists think that life is a game. They think that, they think that, and it is for them. But chosen ones, we realize that no, life is not a game. We're put here for a purpose. God has a purpose for us. And we are to be serving that purpose and not playing the devil's game of narcissism. I mean, we had to learn that. God had to awaken us. And, it really is. And, that is a marketing ploy to claim to be number one. Yes, it is the narcissism side of marketing, right? And it's very deceitful, because it's all lies. How can you have that many number one pizza joints? How can you have that many number one brands of toothpaste? How can you have that many number one recommended of this or that or the other? How can you have that many recommended, number one recommended treatment centers? Or, how? You can't. You can't. But in the devil's fantasy land, yeah. But chosen one, when it comes to our reality and God's reality, we know God is the only number one. There is only one God. And so when all of them, are claiming to be number one, they are committing idolatry, because they're putting themselves up on a pedestal. That if they're claiming to be number one when they're not, God tells us that if a man thinks he is something when he is nothing, then he has deceived himself. And so that's what they're doing. Yeah, that's in the Bible. I forget exactly what verse, but it just came to me. Boom. He said that when a man claims to be something when he is nothing, then he deceiveth himself. That's what they're doing. They're out there claiming to be number one at this or number one at that when they're not really anything, and so they're deceiving themselves. One God, and that's it. Thank you. Thank you. That's it. One God. There's only one God. There's no S on the end of that. There's not multiple gods. Okay? There's not. There's one God Almighty. He's the Heavenly Father. That's the only number one. That's it. He is number one. You know, we put God first. That's it. I ain't going to put no doctor, I ain't going to put nobody, no man, up on a pedestal like that. But I had to point this out because it's part of that game of narcissism. It's part of the deceit. It's part of the devil's ploy to trick a lot of people into, well, going and having a bunch of things done to themselves that they don't need done, because radio frequency poisoning is what causes their symptoms. Speaking of, here's the announcement, you all. I am so glad that you made it. I want to go ahead and get this out of the way. We finally did it. We told y'all we had this coming. It took a while. I had to redo a couple of videos I didn't realize I did a long time ago, and I said we got to update that because so much has transpired since doing that when we started putting the course together. And we have more. Okay, I had an original idea that had to get split into two. Okay, so this is the first part. All right. You can now access the RF coaching course at CHA Academy. The link is in this video description below. Yes, right there at the top, you will see the link RF coaching course. Now, if you go to CHA Academy BTBW.com, that's going to take you to how the trauma bond is formed. You're going to want to click on all courses from the top, bottom, or the navigation drop-down menu. When you do that, you'll see the RF coaching course. It is our Combating Radio Frequencies RF coaching course. All right, there's 7 awesome chapters, and basically you're going to, right, some of y'all are going to remember a few of these tips and hacks that I've given on the Patreon channel and here regarding avoiding negative effects of radio frequency, the RF. So some of y'all are going to recognize it, but there's some new stuff there too, and there's more. I want to call the RF coaching course that we've got now, as of today, June 19th, 2025, the RF coaching course available. Okay, what we've got, that's just a starter pack. Let me go ahead and tell y'all that. That is just the starter pack. There's more that's going to come with that. That's why we are pricing these things a little differently. The cost is $175, and you have up to a year to complete it at your own pace. You can do the one-time payment or 5 monthly installments when you click on the arrow. Okay, if you go to the link in this video description, it takes you to the radio frequency coaching course, RF coaching course. Okay, and so we've got more that comes with that. And so I wanted to get at least 2 out of the bunch that we have, but the Lord said one at a time, you know, one project at a time, okay? And so we have some other additional things after that, but I want y'all to get started with that. That's your starter pack. Ooh, I want y'all to put it in the comment below, even on the replay. I want to see starter pack, okay? Because that's what this is all about, starter pack. All right, and so bringing a lot of tips and other tried and true techniques to you all in one neat and organized course, short video lessons, PDF downloads, and you get, that's right, you get a free product, you get a free video, and, right, that's right, and an additional PDF download, free product about RF and volume, okay? And you get a video that you can download. That's your free product, an RF coaching course at CHA Academy. I highly encourage y'all to check it out. So what's going to happen is when you enroll, and you're going to go into you're going to see the classroom, and at the very top, you're going to see the welcome video, and then under there you want to download your free products, okay, the video and the PDF, all about RF and volume. That's your free product when you enroll. And then you've got chapters 1 through 7, real simple, no quizzes. And yes, you get a certificate of completion at the end. Don't forget to download those PDF and your certificate. I look forward to seeing you all in the community forum as well, where we have fun fact videos and Bible study videos that go up every week. So there is the update and announcement. You can now enroll in CHA Academy's RF coaching course. Again, that direct link is in the video description below. I look forward to seeing you all there. Now, let me go ahead and thank you for putting it in the comment starter pack, because that's what it is. And so we're talking about how the game of narcissism like to promote all these things as being number one when they're not really number one. And how, right, and like I said earlier, God said that, a man who claims to be something when he is nothing deceiveth himself. So that's what they're doing, along with putting themselves on a pedestal. They are committing idolatry by claiming to be number one. There is only one number one. His name is God, the Heavenly Father. There's only one number one, but they are claiming to be number one, and it is the narcissism side of marketing. It is a marketing ploy. Okay, and so, well, that's the thing. Them claiming to be number one is like, well, it's feeding the narcissistic mindset of worthiness. So, like, if they're not number one, and only a narcissist would think that, though. A narcissist would think that if it's not considered number one, or at least at the top tier, right? Yeah, a narcissist would think that it's not worthy enough to even go there, or to even mess with, or to even try, right? Okay, or because I remember narcissists would come out and say, and I'm gonna paraphrase here, say things like, "Oh, that restaurant, that ain't good enough for me. I ain't gonna eat there." Yes. Like, a restaurant, it's not fancy enough for me. I'm not gonna eat there. That's a narcissist for you. They're like, I'm not gonna eat there. Hey, you have those hoity-toity ones, absolutely. And then don't forget, though, y'all, narcissism doesn't discriminate. Okay, never forget that important fact. Narcissism does not discriminate. Oh my gosh, yeah, it affects all socioeconomic statuses. Okay, it affects, right? It affects all genders. Narcissism doesn't have a gender, just like Jezebel's spirit doesn't have a gender. Okay, so yeah, don't forget that. But it really is. It's like if they're claiming to be number one at anything, or number one recommended anything, they're claiming that. It's like they're telling you that they are the only ones worthy of your business, your attention, or what have you. And that's not true. Chris is right. There's plenty of other things that are as equally worthy, and some things, if not more so. Okay, really. But there's still only one number one, and his name is God. So, right. And yes, peace and blessing to you, Jay. Thank you. And you are welcome for another live. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I almost took a break. But God said, you can go faceless. They're going to listen. He said, they're going to tune in. He said, you got to talk about this. Because a lot of them out there, God said, yeah, I'm number one. It's like God said, I am number one. God said, they need to understand that anything out here claiming to be number one is lying. Only God is number one. So y'all I want y'all to drop that in the comments below. Even on the replay, God is number one. Amen. God is number one. Glory be to God. Because that's the truth. And so many things out here that you start to see and you pay attention. And then I start remembering all of those commercials when I used to tune in to the television. That all those commercials, I was like, wow. And, it's funny. I made note of it quite some time ago, even before I stopped watching that stuff. But it just didn't, it was being saved. It's like God wrapped it up with that fancy wrapping paper and kept it in the treasure for such a time as this. Because I started noticing that, okay, wait, we have all these number ones out here. Okay, we're going to have to analyze that later on. And so that's why we're doing it today. Because I noticed another billboard and I said, okay, it's time. So we got to talk about this. Because it's part of the crazy making as well, but it's also part of the sin out here in the evil world. It's putting themselves up on a pedestal, claiming to be number one when God is the one that is number one. And okay. And then and then the kids would be ranked and set order. Oh gosh almighty. I know, right? Like a report card. if we didn't make straight A's or B's, or if we, and I, I remember that. Oh my gosh. It was like nail biting. If you got a C on your report card and you would take it home, you're like, yeah, depending on how you were being raised. But now, I remember, because I would have like an A and 2 B's and then 1 C. And I would be told, okay, you know what? It's all right. It's all right. You got plenty of time to bring that C up. And I'm like, so in my mind, I'm like, boy, even though the C was a passing grade, I got to get this up. Mama said I got to get this up. It's got to be better than that. So yeah, talk about narcissism. Oh, y'all, we're going to save that for a whole nother conversation, because yeah, many of us, can relate to that one. Oh my gosh. It's like the seeking perfection, a sign of narcissism, growing up with that. Yeah, front of your parents with that. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, wow. Because if we, it's like we weren't walking on eggshells, but if we knew that, oh my goodness, yeah, because they were the happiest when we had A's and more A's than B's. But if we had even just a few A's and a few B's, they were happy. They were happy with that. If we had a C, it was like, well, you know what, it's okay. I'm like, oh my gosh, when a C is a perfectly fine passing grade. But again, we'll touch on that later on, y'all. Seriously, because that's all part of the game of narcissism. And so Chris is saying that the RF coaching course, meaning, okay, that stands for radio frequency coaching course. Again, that link is listed in this video description below. And can I mention the price here? Sure, Chris, if you want to mention the price, it's $175 for a whole year. Okay, and you can access it for a whole year. Take your time. You ain't got to rush through it, but I do encourage y'all to download those. Okay, and you can mention the price there if you want to. Sure. I don't know. I don't think YouTube will just. Yeah, you can. Thank you for your help. And just note that you have the option when you go to that course landing page, okay, in the video description below, you've got the direct link, and you click on that. Okay, yeah, it is, okay. Well, it says 9 lessons, but you get a free product, a free video, and PDF when you enroll. So for that price, you're also getting a free product. I did a video that you can download with RF and volume, an extra bonus tip there. And that's you get your, I wanted to make sure y'all had something else too, okay? So yes, that's correct. So, and you can take your time and you can refer back to it, absolutely. And yours truly, I did not use any artificial intelligence. I want y'all to know that when I create courses, this yours truly, I am your instructor. I put together the notes. I put together the curriculum. I don't use artificial intelligence because that's too much. They would mess the AI, artificial intelligence, it would mess too much stuff up. I don't trust it. So yours truly, I take the time to prepare the notes. I do the outline. I prepare the notes. I put the curriculum together. I sit down. I record the videos. I edit. I upload. And I put all of that in there for you all together. That way, when you go and enroll, everything's right there. I do not announce the availability of a course until it is launched and put together and ready for you. Okay, thank you, Chris, for pointing that out. I sure do. I create my courses, our courses, in easy, digestible, bite-sized module. That's it right there. I don't overwhelm y'all with everything, boom, like in 1 or 2 courses. No, we break it down for you. Okay, and so, and yes, Jesus is so humble. That's right. I love y'all's comments there. Okay, and so we were talking about the game of narcissism with report cards. Again, we will touch on that, but yeah, the math, and then the narcissistic parents. You know what? I think that's going to be a great topic for a narcissistic parent video right there, because of the fact that they want to compare, like, how come you can't be a math genius like your sibling or like somebody else? I know, okay? So I thank you for pointing that out, that all the courses, okay, y'all, all of the courses at CHA Academy are created that way, and easy digestible bite-sized modules. Okay, nothing over. That's why y'all can take your time, and you know, most all the courses you'll have a whole year to access it for that price, so that you can take your time. You don't have to get it all done in 1 week, although some of y'all move pretty quick. And that's fine, that's fine. But you also will have access to the community forum for a whole year. Even when you finish the course, you still have access to the community forum for a whole year when you enroll in the courses. So think about that value. Okay, I'm wanting to share with y'all the value you're getting for the money. Okay, it's not just about the material and the free product, stuff like that, but the fact that you have access to that course for 365 days. You finish the course in 2 weeks. Okay, that's fine. But you still have access to it for 365 days. You have access to the community forum also. So you finish the course, okay, fine. But you can log in weekly, daily into that community forum for a whole year, even after you finish the course in 2 weeks, 2 months. That's a lot of value, because I upload fun fact videos and short Bible studies, and Chris shares some funnies, and y'all are allowed to post inside that forum as well. So we're just getting started, okay? And every week, okay, we've got at least that coming. And so when available, I have Word of the Week. I mean, we have activities. We have CHA Book Club in there, space in there for that. I mean, yeah. So it's value that you're getting with all of that. Along with the course, you're getting access to the community forum. So I want you to remember that, okay? A lot of people don't think about that. They look at the price and they go, ah. And I'm like, hold on a second. Let me point out the value you're getting. All right? A lot of people don't, but now you know. Think outside the box, because that's not that expensive compared to a lot of other coaching courses and master classes out here. That's not that expensive. It's not expensive at all anyway. Okay, not for the education and the awareness, and then I'm bringing more to you all. That's what we're going to break. That's the starter pack, okay, for those who didn't catch that, okay? No, enrolling in a course does not give you lifetime access to the forum unless there's only one course that gives you that. The 5 P's coaching course. So if you enroll in the 5 P's coaching course, then you have lifetime access to the forum. But if you enroll, well, I mean, I'm just saying, but listen, you want to learn about radio frequencies so you could be living a healthier life, then the RF coaching course is for you. And then when you're ready to unpack that talents and gifts, and you want to get better organized in thought and action, then the 5 P's coaching course is for you. The 5 P's coaching course is for when you're searching to walk in your purpose, or you're just trying to get your life better organized, your thought and action organized. That's when the 5 P's coaching course comes in handy. But you got to get over that rainbow, and you got to get the balance between the spiritual and physical a little bit. Okay. Right, and knowledge that you can take away for a lifetime. Absolutely. So, right, you get access, okay, to the all courses except that one. Okay, you get access to the community forum for 1 year. And then a lot of knowledge that you can take away for a lifetime. Absolutely, the value, okay? Right, well, yeah, some people are going to drop for good being a part of the game of narcissism. And so we touched on that report card and how. All right. All right, y'all. All right. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Okay. Due for a heat wave in the UK. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to come on back. I want to thank y'all for, thank you for hanging in. We always come back. We always come back. We always come back. And I know that it started buffering while we were talking about the Academy. And we were highlighting the new course dropped today, June 19th, 2025, RF coaching course. And you'll find that in the video description below. And we were talking about how these courses contain a lot of value and how some have access to how they have access to the community forum, and all but one is for 1 year. There's one course that gives you lifetime access, but you got to work your way towards that one. And in the meantime, there's also a membership. Don't forget that. If you're not ready to enroll in any of the courses, we still have the membership. Spiritual Warriors for Christ membership at CHA Academy. When you go to CHAacademybtbw.com, you can click on all courses, and the membership and all courses available will pop up. You'll see what we have. And the membership one, you can do monthly or annually. If you choose the annual membership, you save 25%. So you can check that out too. And yeah. I mean, we've got stuff for y'all. And then don't forget about the Patreon membership channel. You unlock access to exclusive content for as little as $5 a month. I mean, the Truth Analyzer Patreon podcast. Listen, we have got a lot of things in position for you all to help you overcome the trauma, grow closer to God, combat this radio frequency for healthier living. And yeah, we can do it because it's all about making better choices. And the CHA membership, okay, I'm going to have to, you got me. Hold on a second. I got to look it up real quick because I updated it. Okay, so let me get over here to this real quick. Click on all courses and let's see the membership. I'm glad you asked. Thank you. It is the Spiritual Warriors for Christ membership at CHA Academy is either $15 a month or $135 annually for the year. So you save 25%, but you got to click on that arrow. Okay, you got to click on that arrow and get it. But it's $15 a month or $135 for the year. So thank you for asking that question. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you letting people know you love the website. The CHA website, the Academy website. Okay. We have both. We have the regular website and we also have the Academy website. And yes, the Academy website is very well laid out, and so is our normal regular website, cdhrwdrmd.org. And we update that as well. So I've got some more updates to do on our main website, but then the Academy website, yeah, it's very easy to navigate. Thank you, Chris, for pointing that out. But it is, everything there is very simple. And very well organized, and we just like to keep it simple. Okay, everybody? And I really thank you for all of your continued support. I just wanted to get on here, and we talked about the number one anything, okay, being promoted out here as being number one as part of the game of narcissism. And, and then now we're talking a bit more about the Academy, especially for those of you who don't know about the Academy. We've got to have this discussion, and I'm grateful that we've got some of you here who are part of the community at CHA Academy as well, so that you can basically confirm, okay, some things and share your insight and about your experience at the Academy for others to learn from and to understand. And so Chris is telling us that the site is nicely thought out, and even on the community forum side. Because in the community forum, I have spaces for each course. And be patient with me, okay? We're working on, I'm going to have one for the RF course, but I wanted to get the course launched and ready already, okay? We will have the space in the community forum shortly, okay? It's not going to take long, but we definitely have. It's like for the trauma bond course, you see a space. because we're going to have fun fact videos. And sometimes, if it's not a general fun fact video, sometimes they are part of one of the courses. Sometimes the fun fact videos that we upload every single week into the community forum, sometimes it correlates to one of the courses. And so I let y'all know that. So you learn additional, listen, this is what I'm saying, the value that you all get. When you enroll in a course at CHA Academy, okay, when you enroll in a course, you have access to that forum for at least 1 year for all courses except one that gives you lifetime. We'll talk more about that another time, but right now I got to give you the gist, okay? The value that you get, because you will get additional fun fact videos in the community forum, even for courses that you haven't enrolled in yet. For example, if you have not yet enrolled in how to detox from trauma, if you have not enrolled in that course, but let's say you are enrolled in the radio frequency coaching course, okay? If you are enrolled in that one, and so you go into the community forum 1 week, and the fun fact happens to correlate with the detox course, well, guess what? It helps also with combating radio frequency because it's going to have a healthier eating component to it. Ding, 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 ding. There's your value. Okay? Short videos I put up every single week, and then short Bible study. Okay? I put those in the Spiritual Warriors for Christ membership space. But everybody can access those in the community forum if you are a member or enroll in the courses. And so, yes, okay, variety is the spice of life. That's it. That's what we've got going on at CHA Academy. Is a variety. We're not doing anything in a numbered pecking order. Thank you. And we are inclusive. Exactly. There is no elitism. Thank you for the another word, and ism. Okay, but no, we are inclusive. We are all inclusive. You all are allowed to post in the forum as well. You're allowed to share your insight. If you come across an academic article, guess what? We have a space for those too. And I've got several up there. Yes, I haven't forgotten, Chris, to simplify the receptor article. I've got the post-it note. It goes with me. I have not forgotten. It's just a matter of time, because I gotta sit down and read the whole thing again. So bear with me, and I know, but see, because I know, Chris, I know you've got lifetime access, so hang tight, all right, and we're gonna have that for you all. I simplify the receptor article, okay, and well, because it correlates, with, or basically what correlate means is relate. Okay, y'all, it's just a fancy term for relationship. It has a relationship with or to. All right, that's what correlate means. Now, that being said, the receptor article, we talk about neurotransmitters going with how the trauma bond is formed, because the trauma bond to a narcissist is like a drug addiction because it manipulates your brain's chemistry, your brain's neurotransmitters. So that's how that came about. Okay, and we're all inclusive at the Academy. There is no... it's not there's no one-upmanship. There's no nothing, okay? It's all iron sharpening iron. Ooh, God says, well, iron sharpening iron. That's what we're supposed to be doing, okay? And I'm passing down to you all, or passing along, basically. Not passing down, excuse me. I'm passing along basic scientific facts. We got God's wisdom, basic scientific facts, tried and true techniques, and more that I'm bringing to you all at the Academy to help you level up that trauma healing and spiritual growth. So I highly encourage y'all, check that stuff out, all right? When you go to the RF coaching course, direct link in the description below, all right? You will hear a short video on the landing page, all right? And then, yes, it is the national, it is the NHS article, SALT. Okay, I don't know if it's the SALT article, but it's the receptor article. It might be. Oh my goodness. Okay, we've got quite a bit there for you all, but you can also go to CHAacademybtbw.com. That'll take you to how the trauma bond is formed. When you go there, you can click on all courses from the navigation drop-down menu, the header or the footer, depending on the device you are viewing CHAacademybtbw.com on. And right, the academic articles that we find and put in there are good, yes, and they're just they're additional insight. Okay, and they are worth a look. See, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, we also have one about the negative effects of high fructose corn syrup and fructose and things. So we've got that up there because that goes along with the detox and also for healthier living. You stay away from artificial sugars because our body's not designed to digest it. And that article is very helpful in elaborating on that because God did not design our bodies to digest synthetics and all right and fake anything. So it will always digest all natural cane sugar first. Absolutely, and God has a well, we only have so many enzymes at any given time for digestion. So there you go. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, and because there is a lot of information out there in the world, and so we very very selective. I do double check sources. I double check the information. I make sure that it aligns with our mission and movement, basically the ministry. Because remember, y'all, trauma healing and spiritual growth—that's our mission. Okay, our movement in this ministry is combating that radio frequency for healthier living because we do have the power and authority on the inside of us from God to make better choices. Because James 4 verse 7 tells us we must resist, right? Submit yourself therefore to God, resist the devil and he shall flee. You got to resist the devil's temptation, and they are many out here. Okay, you go to the store, all that junk food, those are the devil's temptation. Okay, and so it gets easier to resist those as well. When you get yourself under control, you control yourself. When you understand that that stuff is contributing to excess salt in the body and other toxins, that the radio frequency poisoning is the negative effects of radio frequency is because you're eating all that junk, all that excess salt, all the sugar, all the other chemicals that they're putting in this junk food. Okay, you got to resist the devil's temptation so that you can live a healthier life and get rid of that excess salt and other toxins that radio frequency poisoning is drawn to. Okay, those toxins are a magnet for radio frequency poisoning. And if you find yourself feeling unwell all the time, like you feel like or you feel like you tell yourself you're catching this or that when you're not, you're just detoxing your body, trying to get rid of a radio frequency symptom. It's trying to get rid of the toxin. It's trying to because God designed our bodies that way. So if you get tricked into thinking, oh, and now you're going to go take something over the counter that does nothing but mask it and basically stops your body from detoxing. Because that's what the devil wants. He don't want you to detox. He wants you to continue to get poisoned by radio frequency so that he can keep you dependent on man, thinking you got something wrong with you when you don't. So RF is radiation poisoning. You got that right? Yes. Because you will hear terms like radio frequency sickness, radio frequency radiation. Electricalpollution.com calls it radio frequency radiation. So you'll hear that because that's basically what it is. And I've gone even simpler and told y'all, when you get zapped with radio frequency, the only way it will work is if you have bruises, if you've got any kind of injury going on where bruising will travel to, if you have excess salt trapped in your skin and you can't sweat, if you have trouble sweating, then you are a prime candidate for radio frequency poisoning. And it's going to continue to cook your body from the inside out. Your organs, your tissues, everything is hot, and it continues to cook. And over time, your nerves, your ANF, it don't want that. I'm going to tell you, your autonomic nervous system, ANF, does not like excess salt. I can tell you that right now. I didn't realize. I thought that Chinese takeout was probably safer than most other takeouts, right? Oh boy, was I wrong. I just recently found out I get the fried rice. Man, the night that I ate it though, I was sitting in the car for an hour and a half in traffic, and it was a one of them days, so I wasn't really thinking about the salt content because I'd eaten, the fried rice before, and well, I've detoxed a bit more since then, and so I didn't even take that into account. And so I took a bite of the leftover. I even put it in the microwave, and I said, I know it's got salt in it. I can taste the salt. But the next day, when I went to get some leftover, and Right, and I put it in the microwave. I got it nice and hot, and I said, all right, we're gonna let it evaporate, right? We'll let some of that excess salt evaporate. And I mean, because I knew there was salt in it, but how much I didn't. And then so I did that, and I let it cool off. And when I took a bite, it went in the garbage. It had more salt in it than I originally thought. It had way too much salt. I said, "There's no way I'm not eating that." I said, "I'm good." And so I've learned another lesson that no, it depends on what you order when you get takeout. Boy, I tell you, I said, man, I said, no, I'm gonna eat that. I said, there's no way. I said, I can microwave that 5 more times. It's still gonna have too much salt. That's how salty it was. I said, we're not eating that. So that's the kind of stuff we're talking about that we find out here. Because literally, I mean, because excess salt is very, very addictive. Okay, it is very addictive. There's a thing called a salt high. A salt high is the same thing as a cannabis high. How do I know that? Oh, a master's degree in forensic toxicology. I have a nice big green book where bath salts and cannabis are toxic substances that share very similar properties and mechanisms of action. Hallucinations, even possible psychosis. Okay, the list of side effects is long and very similar, and some the same. There's some major crossovers between excess salt, metal toxicity, and cannabis toxicity. So that's not a coincidence, because pollen smells like pot, and pollen is dust. Dust can smell like pot depending on the metal compound, the type of salt that are making up that particular dust compound. I will be breaking more of that down for y'all later on. Okay, so again, I've got a master's degree in forensic toxicology, so I know about metal toxicity, and we've learned more about dust and how it's got salt, and yeah, so I'll be bringing more of that education to you all as part of our combat against radio frequency for healthier living, because radio frequency is drawn to metal salts. So, and those metal salts are a magnet for heat. It is the heat from the radio frequency that we are combating. So there you go. All right, everybody. Let's see. So how come excess salt intake heats the body? You would think that we would get the shivers, that it would bring down body temp. You would think so. You would think so, but you got to think about the different metals, okay? And that's what I'm learning about, because I remember, if you look at the periodic table, you have heavy metals and you have light metals. And of course, you've got some in between. But for example, sodium has a very low atomic mass, meaning it has a very low weight. Whereas other metals have a much higher atomic mass, a much heavier weight. Because sodium by itself isn't going to raise your body's internal temperature near to the point that the Matrix and the devil wants it to be in order to numb the brain and numb the ANF. So there's got to be some heavier metals in there, okay? And I don't have my book with me right now, but the heavier metal, there's got to be things like thallium, there's got to be mercury. Think about metal fillings, okay? If you might have some metal fillings, you've got mercury in your body. Mercury to the high frequency, low frequency. So aluminum to both, sodium to both. So, but they, like sodium, aluminum is very low in atomic mass, so it has a very low weight. So it by itself isn't going to raise the body's internal temperature. So that's why you have all these other compounds like calcium chloride, aluminum sulfate, and things like that. That's why you have all those chemicals being put in food, because it adds that additional salt. Okay, another type of metal with a gas. Okay, sulfate, sulfur. Okay, with a type of gas component. And so all of that being put into your body, it takes a lot. So you got to have things like, you got to have things, and iron. And then, of course, you need iron, potassium. And, I mean, all of those are metals, too. So, but it's not in excess, though. That's the point. And, so you have the good side of your electrolytes that happen to be metal salt, but then you also have anything in excess, not good, right? God tells us that. So That's where we're at with all of this, and understanding that it takes a lot more than just sodium and aluminum and mercury to get the body's internal temperature so high that you are in a constant fever-induced state and your ANS remains completely numbed. Well, not completely, but numbed enough. And if you're crept and unaware that your ANS is numbed and being manipulated with radio frequency, if you don't know, you don't have that level of awareness of your autonomic nervous system being manipulated with radio frequencies, and you continue to consume excess salt, you are going to be more accident prone because you will be running on adrenaline instead of natural empathetic energy. But see, narcissists don't have empathy, so narcissists will never have that. They always have to run on adrenaline. That's all they have. They have an adrenaline addiction because of the years of ANS manipulation and constant running on adrenaline, because they need that adrenaline rush to feel as though they're alive. Whereas chosen one, we get to this point of, hold on a second. Our ANS don't want all that excess salt, and I can attest to it because my ANS became a case study when the Jezebel, when the Jezebel case study launched her physical assault. That was a blessing in disguise, because now I know my ANS and how it responds to stuff. Just earlier today, there's a place across the way from where I'm at, and they were doing one of the Matrix's favorite fire drills. And I recognized that sound, and I started laughing, but my ANS went into threat detection mode, and I said, nah, baby girl, I said, that ain't for us. She's like, oh, okay. And I mean, I felt it. I felt her responding. I sure did. So I'm telling you, when it comes to these frequencies, the level of awareness that you get about your ANS and when it's responding, and you can calm it down by letting it know, hey, that ain't no threat. Okay, it's not a threat. It ain't even for us. But it was familiar because we lived in a place that used to do that. And it's part of the radio frequency manipulation of the ANS to keep it numbed. Because the matrix needs people to be accident prone. That's another reason why you got all these inconsistencies out here. Pay attention to your surroundings. How high is that toilet? How high is that counter? What's sticking out from that hotel bed? What's on the floor? Okay, how's that position? Is that microwave out of balance? If it's out of balance, get an index card or something. Balance it out, because if you don't, it's going to make a lot of noise. So things like that. Pay attention. Okay? Pay attention to the doorway. Right? Make sure you pick your feet up. That kind of stuff. Okay? Not just awareness of our surroundings and all that stuff. Because the stuff that the Matrix does, the way things are constructed for all that inconsistency, it's a deliberate trick to try and cause accidents. So slow down. We ain't got to rush nothing in God's reality. We realize. Slow down. Take it easy. One day at a time. Take note of this. Take an assessment of the environment. Make note of stuff. And you're like, all right, I see you. I see where you at. And then you take your time. You don't have to move so fast. The rush of the Matrix, those days are over. When we get into God's reality, the rush of the Matrix days, man, that's over. We ain't got to do that. But yes, okay. And how come so much is in our food, right? And view salt as a dangerous drug, and so how come there's so much of it in our food? Well, remember, right? You're talking about the government drug administration. They view salt as a dangerous drug. Oh, okay. They got to tell you the truth. Yeah, they got to tell you the truth. But why so much is in our food? Well, how many are going to believe that truth? Because if you're addicted to salt, and if you are numbed, your taste buds are numbed, you ain't even going to taste excess salt. You ain't even going to notice it. But see, now when we detox, we do start to notice it. And so, right, if you're tall, bending over to give, sink height. Now that depends on how you're bending. Are you squatting and are you bending, keeping your back straight? There's a tip for anybody. If you are tall and the sink is low, learn how, right, that's what use your glutes, use your muscle, right, you bend over, because yours truly, this is what I got to do whenever I encounter a sink that's lower than average, okay? And so I just make sure my legs are positioned, my back is straight, When I bend over, I make sure I keep that back straight, and I bend the knees slightly, and I do what I got to do. Wash my face and everything. And no back pain, no back hurt, no none. No, nothing hurts. It's all about how you stand. Now stand properly. There's your tip right there. All right, everybody. We've gone several minutes over 1 hour, and I don't mind, but I wanted to get all that out to you all. Again, the RF coaching course, the direct link in the video description below, along with other links. I highly encourage y'all to check it out, check it out, check it out. And we do take service grants / donations. You'll find those areas also in the video description below as we get up here and continue to serve in the kingdom of God with education and awareness, getting that heightened awareness, that mental acuity that God needs us to have so that we catch these things and don't keep being deceived over and over again. And iron continues to sharpen iron in our growing community of spiritual warriors for Christ. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father. And you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.